Oh hey, welcome back to my channel all about children's behaviour, mental health and well-being. In this week's video we're going to be looking at shouting and losing our cool as parents. We'll look at why it happens, what to do when it does happen and how we can avoid it in the future. I really do want to reiterate that you're not a terrible parent if you've ever got cross with your children. We are raising children in a fast-paced world and it's not an easy job. And there are so many reasons why it can happen and none of them are to do with you not being good enough. You are doing an amazing job. So why does it happen? Well, I've touched on the first point already, we're busy. But it can also happen because we feel angry, overwhelmed, or because we've been led to believe that it'll actually get our children to behave. The anger and overwhelm doesn't have to come from the children either. Stresses at work, a house full of toys, an unequal workload with your partner, all of these things can cause us to have less patience with our children. You might be wondering why it's such an issue anyway. Some of you might even ask, well, surely shouting is better than smacking. In my other videos, I'll go into why we should avoid shouting and the impact that it has on our children. But for now, I want this video to focus on things that will actually help you. In all of my roles, I'm really lucky to speak to different parents every day, and over again I'm reminded that we all have different children and different ways of doing things. But there's almost always one common theme. We can all feel overwhelmed, and there's a scientific reason for it. As humans, we make over 30,000 decisions a day. In fact, it's actually close to 35,000. This means our brains are constantly busy and there are going to be times where perhaps we make the wrong decision. And whilst our brains are like the computer system of our body, we aren't actually robots and we have our own emotions and needs that we bring to parenting and that we are having to juggle alongside raising our children. If you find your child's behaviour hard work, I want you to know this: you're not doing it wrong. It's basic science to feel triggered. For their own survival, children have to be able to get our attention and get their needs met. And I've used this example many times, but think about a pig at the farm. That mama pig's piglets hang off her, much like our own human children. But that pig doesn't have to wash the dishes, email her boss, or bath her youngsters without losing her cool. Babies are going to harass their parents, whatever the species, but as humans, parenting isn't the only role we play. Sometimes in order to be calmer, more positive parents, we need to let other things slide. And sometimes we just need to be a little kinder to ourselves. The more we can understand why we are a certain way, the easier it can be to support ourselves with those things. So that's a little bit about why it happens. Let's think about what we can do to prevent it. You know that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup? Well, it's true, but your cup needs to be full for you, not just to pour into other people. And as parents, we need to take better care of ourselves than ever before, yet we have less time to do it in. So cut yourself some slack. Most of us are doing all of the things we did before children, but with extra little people to look after. The reason your child behaves in a certain way for you is because of the wonderful relationship that you have, but that's bound to have its challenges. If we want our children to change their behaviour, first we need to change ours. The vast majority of adults were never taught anything about how to regulate their own emotions. The chances are you saw the adults from your childhood shout or lose their cool, whether that was in your home, the supermarket, at school or on TV. And maybe you didn't even consider how you felt about that until you became a parent yourself. And that's okay, but it does mean that you can't expect to be the most patient parent in the world 100% of the time if you are still learning how to regulate yourself. So start small. Try your best and understand that will be different on different days. Try to find some time for yourself. I know this isn't easy, but we all need a little space to recharge our own batteries. And it doesn't have to be extravagant, and this rest can be whatever you need it to be. But think of something that would make you feel good today, even if you can't get any child-free time right now. Could you send a voice note to a friend or get outside in the fresh air, even with your children? Is there something you could do every day for you? For example, every night, once my children are in bed, I do a scalp massage and I pop some oil on my hair and I do my heatless curls. And I do it every single night, even when I don't want to. And it's become a non-negotiable because it's just one tiny way I care for myself and it benefits nobody but me. But in doing this, I've learned that actually I can do tiny acts of care for myself and it doesn't take away from my children. If it makes me feel good, then it will make them feel good. So what could your non-negotiable be? And there's no right answer here, just anything that gives you something for yourself that you can do as often as possible. You need to feel good for you. If you are finding yourself feeling particularly stressed with your children, try to work out why you're triggered. Are you tired, stressed, touched out? Is it really about your child's behaviour? Check in with your expectations of your child. Are they realistic, or is it that you're cross? I sometimes find myself getting irritated by the small stuff, you know, like when they want to put their shoes on themselves, but it's taking years and you need to get out the door. And I ask myself two things. One, why am I feeling this way? And two, how would I want to be treated in this situation? The answer to the first one is usually because we're in a rush and I don't want to be late. So I let my mind kind of follow that thought through and ask myself, well, what's the worst case scenario? Does it really matter if we are a couple of minutes later? Probably not. But will it matter if I shout at my child? Yes. And I also consider how it feels from my child's point of view. Imagine you were trying your best to get ready for an evening out with your partner. How would it feel if they hurried you? Would you be capable of going quicker just because they've shouted at you? And then how would you feel about going out for a lovely evening with them after that? If we see it from their point of view, it becomes easier, because more often than not, their behaviour isn't an emergency. So we can take a deep breath, or 5, before responding to a situation. And I call this the PB method. P for pause and B for breathe. Pausing and breathing has really given me some of my better parenting moments, and it's also a great thing to model to our children, because they're bound to feel frustrated at some point in their lives, and we can use this as an opportunity to teach them a skill. Depending on where you are when you're in these stressful situations, you could try adding water, getting them or yourself a drink, jumping in a puddle, whatever you need to reset a challenging situation. And there are scientific facts about why water is such a powerful tool for humans, because it really does work. Going for a walk in the rain can be incredibly soothing, or a daytime bath is a parenting hack I use really often to break up an exhausting afternoon. But here's a bit of honesty for you. You can know all of this, you can do all of this and still get cross sometimes. I have spent years working with children and keeping calm with other people's children. I know all of the tips to deal with theirs and my own behaviour, and I still get triggered by the little humans I created myself, because it's human nature. We've all been there. And if you find yourself in this situation, here's what to do. Be honest with them. It is okay for our children to see our emotions. You can say things to them like, you know, I love being your parent, but sometimes I feel tired. Adults get overwhelmed too, but this isn't your fault. Now, the way we repair and apologise to our children will depend on their age, so I've popped a few script suggestions in the description that you might like to use. The main things to keep in mind are that we need to be accountable, apologise, and tell our children what we'll try to do differently in the future. It's never too late to pause, breathe, and try again. After an apology, we can encourage our children to share their feelings, and some children will, but if they don't, that's fine. Given that negative feelings accumulate like snowballs, we need to give our children the chance to say how they feel. And it's important to mention that they don't need to say, oh, that's okay, and forgive our behaviour. Some children will be less concerned than we are, and it's likely that they'll have forgotten about the situation long before we do. But regardless, it's still important for adults to repair, because children learn through what they see. They're learning in this moment that their actions affect other people, and we are teaching them how to work through conflict. Now, I'm hoping that this video has provided a few helpful tips that you can start to implement straight away. My mini module, Look What You Made Me Do, is all about how we regulate our own emotions as parents. If you're finding that your patience is wearing thin, or you're looking to reduce your stress and manage your emotions more effectively, then this masterclass is perfect for you. If you want to learn the skills and the tips behind being a calmer parent, then I've popped the link and discount code in the description of this video. Also within the description, you'll find other videos that you might like on my channel, as well as some freebies that might be useful for you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell. This way you won't miss any of my videos. There's a new one every Friday. If you have any questions at all, please pop them in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Bye!